Adrian Peterson back in the NFL, going against the Rams defense, and Von Miller now on the Rams. Did the Cardinals try to go after Von Miller? Is that what somebody told me that today? Is that true?
Yeah, I think it was me actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw it on NFL Trade Rumors today. It looks like they went out and tried to make a run for it. If for nothing else, I really hope they did it just to jack up the price.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I still think a second and a third is bullshit for Von Miller.
Yeah.
People are talking mad shit to the Rams about like not having any more draft picks in the upcoming class. Like, tell me what draft pick is immediately Von Miller. Like, no. People get caught up in draft picks, but like at the same time, you have a guy who's an instant athlete on the he's Von Miller. Like,
and how many really good years does Matt Stafford have left? I know he's not that old, but maybe 4 solid years left, maybe at most.
How many years does Sean McVay have left? If they don't make it back, if they don't win a Super Bowl here in the next year or two, he might be done, dude. He might actually be done.
Wow.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's been there, 5-6 years?
Yeah, he did.
They made one Super Bowl?
That's pretty good. I mean, I think he's doing pretty good, but hey.
It's LA, bro.
Yeah, I feel you. All right, well, welcome to the show, guys. We appreciate you joining us. This is The Edge DFS. I'm Tyson Smith, joined by Ellie Hernandez. Throw us a like real quick as you come in. We appreciate the support. Our goal this month is to hit 500 subscribers. So help out a little channel. We really appreciate it. We did an NBA show last night, so we're doing some NBA Showdown shows throughout the week. But right now, we're mainly focusing on football. So let's just get right into this. We're going to try to keep this as quick as possible until we and then leaving more time for the lineup build. Like Ellie, like what you were saying in the pre-show. This is going to be a little bit tough. There's so many high-priced guys. You're really not going to be able to get 2 quarterbacks, and you pretty much can't get a high-priced wide receiver from the Titans with both quarterbacks in there almost, because you want to play Kupp, you want to play Woods, you want to play Henderson. It's going to be a little bit tough. So we're going to save more time for the building, but let's just get right into it. So we're going to go to the first look here. We're going to look at the line. So Tennessee is visiting the Rams in LA. I usually would put a dome there for the weather, but apparently it's not a dome. We had a weather delay last time, but the weather is going to be fine, so it's all good. Minus 336 favorites on the money line. It's a -7 spread, and the total is 52.5. Was this the highest total? What was the highest total for the main slate? Was it around this?
Yeah, I think it is 52.5.
So this is one of the highest totals of the entire day. I know it's not on the main slate, but this is going to be a high-scoring game. And the ownership is shifting obviously way towards LA Rams. And as we get closer, we might see a little bit a different ownership total. But for now, I think you're going to see a ton of 4-2 stacks. I don't know that Tennessee has a shot in this one, but you never know what you're going to see with Tennessee. This team is 6-2. I know they lost Henry, and we'll talk about that here in a second. They're 6-2 against a 7-1 Rams team. You would think on paper, this is going to be a great matchup. But without Derrick Henry, it really changes the way Tennessee plays. They're kind of one-dimensional at this point. I don't know how much opportunity Adrian Peterson is going to get. Jeremy McNichols has never started a game. The most amount of carries he's ever had in a game has been 2. He's primarily been a third down pass-catching back. When it comes to the Rams, though, the interesting thing with the Rams is against running backs, they're only allowing 80 yards rushing per game and 50 receiving yards to running backs per game. So it just doesn't line up well for these running backs on the Titans. It just really doesn't. And they've only given up 7 touchdowns to running backs this entire year, and that's without Von Miller. Now they have Von Miller. So I'm not very optimistic about Tennessee's shot here. You just never know what you're going to see from them. So thoughts on this? Can the Titans keep this a little bit closer? We saw the Cardinals come out and absolutely spank the Rams. They exposed them a little bit, but I don't think Tennessee has near the firepower, especially without Henry. They're a one-dimensional team at this point, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, real quick, where did you get this total from?
I got it from Roto Grinders. They have just a general total.
Okay.
Is it different now? I'm sure it's changed now.
Well, it's at 53, so it's not
53.
crazy, but it's something worth monitoring. If we get line movement and the total's going up, then it's definitely something to be aware of.
Yeah,
But
for
no,
sure.
this is about where it is. Honestly, I think the spread might be a little generous to Tennessee. It's going to be interesting to see if they're able to really hang in against this team. The NFC West has just been dominating the AFC South. I think this season. So I don't know, man. I don't know if Tennessee is going to be able to hang. The Rams defense, they just added Von Miller, and he's a massive pass rush upgrade on top of what is already a pretty insane defense.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I think Ryan Tannehill is going to be in for an interesting day. I think it's going to come down a lot to individual matchups. Jalen Ramsey isn't playing lockdown corner anymore. They have him in the slot, kind of roaming around the field like a Buda Baker type role, or Tyrann Mathieu. Guys, I'm not trying to go back to the Cardinals, but that's my analogy because I know, and I think most people understand what kind of roaming safety type play is, roaming corner, right?
Yeah.
That's what he's been doing. He's been lining up in the slot because nobody throws to him anymore. So I think it's giving him some opportunities for plays. But that being said, Julio Jones is a really nice price tag, and without Derrick Henry to dominate all the volume, I think if Jalen isn't going to line up one-on-one with him or AJ Brown, you might have some opportunities that I just don't know that people are going to be on top of, just because they haven't been what we expected them to be this year.
Yeah, so the Rams absolutely dominated Houston last week, and then they sort of let up a little bit in the fourth quarter and ended up giving up, I think, 22 points or something like that. I wouldn't look into that. They're humans. If you're up 30 something to nothing, you're going to let down a little bit.
Well, your defense is just playing soft, right? You're just like, hey, don't give up consecutive big plays.
10 yards
you can
passes,
score as many points as you want. If you're still not going to score 28 or whatever.
Exactly. And last week the Titans beat the Colts in overtime. Carson Wentz beat the Colts in overtime pretty much. So the Titans are 6-2, and look, Henry was not doing well in that game. I think he was hurt the whole game, and he only had 65 yards. So let's hope that this game is somewhat close. And look, we're on the injury tab here. We're going to get into the injuries. But I just got to say, has there ever been a season that you can remember just absolutely getting murdered by first quarter injuries to chalk players? I mean, Mike White, after he throws a touchdown, 7-7, messes up his thumb, messes up his forearm, whatever it is, and is out. I mean, we've seen so many times this year a chalky player get injured. We should add another segment. We'll call it the blue tent segment, and we can guess as to who is going to get injured in this game, because I'm just getting tired of it, man. I'm really getting tired of it.
I'm glad you brought that up. I think I might try and go back to do this when December rolls around. I don't have as much going on. I might go back and actually look at the Thursday night slate specifically and just compare that to some of the other primetime games, because we talk about this before, but they keep talking about player safety, and that's the reason for all these rule changes. But these Thursday night games, you have unnecessary injuries. I saw more ACL tears in the last 3 weeks on Thursday night alone than I have in the season combined. And with the 17-game season, I think the NFLPA should have pushed back and said, at least get rid of Thursday. I get that there's a lot of money to be made, but dude, you can't Robert Tonyan, he tore his knee up. He's done for the year, right? Yeah. You can just go back and see season-ending injuries on Thursday night games. Yeah. And that's not even accounting for the other ones. But you're right, man, and it sucks. And not just from a gambling perspective, but these guys may not know how to do anything else but play football. Yeah. So not everybody's Adrian Peterson. Not everybody's going to come back and challenge the rushing title after destroying their knee. So yeah, I'm with you, man. It sucks.
It just sucks because we spend hours doing our research, breaking this stuff down. We spend hours putting time into our lineups, and I get it. It's an injury. No one can control that. But there's a reason why we're seeing so many damn injuries on these Thursday night slates. And we're seeing so many more injuries just in general across the NFL. I mean, in the 90s, in the early 2000s, you didn't see people tearing their ACLs every other week. You just didn't see it.
No, I will say is there was a lot more Toradol and other kind of they were back there shooting up morphine, sending them back in. Lawrence Taylor, I'm sure, was getting shots of steroids and going out, doing a lineup low.
Yeah, some
at
white girl.
halftime
Yeah.
coming out ready to go.
Yeah, so an early
All
Christmas.
right, we're getting way sidetracked.
All right, let's go to injuries here. Derrick Henry's obviously out. A.J. Brown is questionable, but he's expected to play. So we're going to assume he's playing, but we'll talk about it a little bit if he's out, who we can kind of throw in there. Robert Woods, I can't call him Bobby Trees until he has a good game or multiple good games in a row. So he's Robert Woods for now. He's questionable, but he is expected to play as well. Do you, if they're up in this game, do they need to keep him in throughout 4 quarters if they're winning by 2 touchdowns? I don't know. I really don't think so.
I think so. I'm pretty sure they only have 3 receivers, dude.
Yeah, they released Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Jackson. They released
Bro,
Deshaun
I always
Jackson.
mess up Deshaun Watson's spelling because of Deshaun Jackson, too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mean to be a dick. It just happens.
So Woods is questionable, but he will play. But you got to it kind of gives him a decrease a little bit in my mind. His price is really good, but he kind of gives a little bit of decrease, and his ownership might be a little bit lower. Julio Jones will play. He missed last week with a hamstring injury, so he's in. And, you got Darrington Evans, obviously, who's out. This backfield is not looking too good. Not looking too good at all. So let's just get right into this breakdown so we can build more lineups. Let's do it. Break it down. All right, so when it comes to quarterbacks here, we've got Matt Stafford at 12.8K, and Ryan Tannehill is 9,800. 9,800 is not, Mike White was 9,800. Tannehill at 9,800 is nice. They're not going to be able to run the ball that much. You got to assume that a guy like Tannehill is going to get 40 attempts, don't you? He hasn't really gotten that high too many times this season, but they've had Derrick Henry to lean on. Now with Derrick Henry out, how do you even come close to winning a game against a good defense without passing the ball 40 times? I like Tannehill. I actually think, I think that Stafford is obviously amazing. His floor is 20 points, but you might be able to get away with leaving Stafford out of some of your lineups, maybe under the field on Stafford this week, just because you might not need him. We've seen this before in multiple showdown slates, Pat Mahomes or, a lot of these guys that you would, with a huge difference in the spread here, you just might not need them in the 4th quarter. So thoughts on this? Do we want to plug both of these guys into the flex right away? Are you interested in Stafford at captain or Tannehill at captain?
I'm sort of interested in Tannehill at captain, depending on where his ownership lands. It's risky as hell. This Rams defense is really good, but he is their only option. He is the chosen one, if you will, for the team at this point, right? If they're going to get anything going, it's going to be through him.
It's through him, yeah.
And he does have rushing upside, so I can see him getting the sneak on the goal line. This is a Ryan Tannehill game. If they're going to win, then he needs to get involved, and that means he probably is going to have some rushing upside as well. So I think overall, Ryan Tannehill is the guy that I prioritize. But as I say that, I think there's one thing to keep in mind, like Matt Stafford, like maybe it's just me, but he's been quietly dominating. He has 1 game, 2 games where he hasn't thrown for 300 yards.
Yeah.
One of those was against the Cardinals and the other against the Colts. So 2 pretty, really good defenses, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I just think it's something to be mindful of. It might be difficult to keep him out. So I don't know if you need to fade him altogether. But from a flex perspective, you might need the raw points. And if you're uncomfortable, you're going to have to play him or Kupp. Right now, I'm just more comfortable fading Stafford over Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
But if you think that there's a chance that there might be some volume spread out from Cooper, then you're going to need Stafford most likely. But I'm going Ryan Tannehill as my guy right now. Especially, are you seeing the ownership here on RG? Because if there's really that big of an ownership discrepancy, then it's Tannehill all day for me.
It's only 6% difference on.
Yeah, it's about 15 over here.
Yeah, that's probably wrong.
Yeah,
they're not very good at their showdown.
Projections, ownership. Yeah.
I guess nobody is because it's always off. So one thing to talk about is the Rams when it comes to wide receiver fantasy points are number 1 in the NFL, and Tennessee's defense giving up the most points to wide receivers.
Yes, they are.
So it's not rocket science. I think you got to fit in as many wide receivers as you feel comfortable with, 2, maybe 3. And with PPR, you really, it's against everything we preach, but you just might not need Stafford with 2 of his wide receivers. If Cooper Kupp gets 14 receptions, and Van Jefferson gets 8 receptions or something like that, it might be enough that Stafford, because he's so expensive, might not make it. I'm not saying fade Stafford. I'm just saying we're going to have to figure something out, because there's going to be some points on the other side of the ball, and we have to nail those points as well. So let's go to running backs here. We're going to probably spend a little bit more time on running backs and wide receivers. Let's start with, who do you want to start with? Rams? Let's start with Rams. So is it Darrell or Daryl? We've had this conversation before. Darrell sounds cooler, right? Let's go Darrell.
I'm just going to start calling him DHJ. I like this better.
Darrell Henderson at 9,200. Good price for him. Sony Michel, 2,800. Sony Michel's ceiling is pretty low. Even in a blowout, I don't really love him. I think he can get you a touchdown, maybe a couple of receptions, but I don't love his ceiling. Darrell Henderson has been absolutely crushing this year. He missed week 3, and he had a bad game week 7. But besides that, he's been absolutely crushing. I don't know, man. I think he might get a little bit forgotten about, especially in the captain spot for Darrell Henderson. At 9,200, everyone's focused on, there's 4 or 5 other guys ahead of him in this game that are going to hold the ownership. I don't know, man. I like Darrell Henderson, and I would be willing to sacrifice one of these wide receivers to put him in, because I think his ownership is going to be right around 30%, 30, maybe 35 at the most.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, man. I think Darrell Henderson's or DHJ is in a great opportunity here, especially if we're thinking about fading Stafford in a decent portion of our lineups. I'm going to want Kupp and then likely Henderson, right? Right now, this is a touchdown spread. I think that the Rams are going to have some opportunity to run the ball, and if the Titans start overcommitting to kind of help their pass defense a little bit more, it's just going to open up holes in the middle to run draw plays, to run screens on, and really bust open some of that interior 7 on the Titan side. So expect Sean McVay to make adjustments like that. And again, if he gets 20 carries here because they're up most of the game, it doesn't look like he's really done that all year, but I mean, he's still getting value at 14, 15 carries, which looks like he's what his average is, and he's getting about 2 to 3 targets a game. So
yeah, and he's
I'm all
routes.
over him today.
He's running routes. He's in about 60+% of the snaps, and he's running a decent amount of routes. He's not just sitting back there blocking. So he's getting some opportunity in the pass game. He ran 19 routes last week, 23 the week before, 21 the week before. Sony Michel's not really getting those opportunities. Right. Sony Michel's getting 30%, and honestly, that's a high for him. He's averaging on the year about 25%, and Henderson's averaging around 80% of the snaps.
And this one is Sonny Michel.
Sonny Michel. I don't know, man. I've heard Sony Michel.
I watched him for a while at Georgia.
And then he goes by Sonny?
I've been following his career. Yeah, it's
well,
Sonny.
His parents butchered the spelling of his name.
Yeah, they did.
All right, so Henderson is a priority for me. I really think he's going to go under-owned. If he comes in, projected 50+%, maybe I might go a little bit under that. But if he's coming in around 30%, I really like that. I really like focusing on him. I think Sonny Michel is a dart. Toss him into a handful of your lineups, maybe get 10-15% of them. All right. So let's go to Tennessee. Let's go to this shit show. So,
do you mind if I actually make a run on this, man? I didn't realize that we have a guy here that I like.
Do it. Go.
Yeah. All right. So let's get right into this. I mean, Adrian Peterson is obviously going to be the talk of the town at 3K. I'm not sure I really want too much exposure. We don't know what he's going to be doing here in the offense. He's not young enough to be involved in the pass game, I don't think. But a guy that I'm really interested in, I didn't realize his price is $200, is Dante Foreman. He's not going to get any love. And at $200 on a slate like this, we need a punt that we're going to be comfortable with. Jeremy McNichols, he's injury prone. He's never started. I mean, he's 7,800.
Yeah.
Remember when we played Tyson Williams, he was 6,800, and that was the first game of the season. So I didn't mind him at that price, but against this defense and a game they're supposed to be behind, I don't know if I necessarily want to get too much exposure there. I think we actually might have opened up a little bit of value here with Deontay Foreman. If he's active at $200, I mean, I'm seeing him less than 5% owned. So
Yeah.
I don't mind taking the stab on a guy like this. Other than that, I don't want any of these. I really don't want any exposure to this backfield.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he was activated off the practice squad or something to that effect. He was he was activated the other day. So he's most likely going to play. And here's the thing. With Jeremy McNichols, he's 7,800. Adrian Peterson's 3K. I mean, look, if Adrian Peterson gets 12 carries, I mean, I think that's a heavy load for him in his first game back in the NFL in over a year at this point. It's a big toss-up as to whether or not McNichols and Peterson can actually be successful. So having a guy like Deontay Foreman at $200, all he needs is 10 opportunities, and he could possibly pay off. Especially in a game, look, in the fourth quarter, if they're down by 2 touchdowns, they might just throw Deontay Foreman in and throw him the ball out of the backfield a couple times. Maybe he gets 3 or 4 targets. He's probably my favorite. He's probably my favorite $200 guy, and we talked about this before. This year, we're just like $200 guys. Let's try them out because it changes your entire roster construction. You're able to really do a lot of things that not a lot of the field's going to do.
And here's one other thing to consider. So Jeremy McNichols, he is going to get involved in the pass game. That's really what he was used for, to kind of spell Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry obviously got a little bit better in that pass catching ability this season, so they've been fading McNichols a little bit more in that position. But we started to see it a lot this year, right? When teams are struggling, when they're not able to get the ball to their outside receivers, or if they're playing an aggressive pass rush, it's really easy to save your quarterback by having these dump off passes. And if we're talking late third quarter, fourth quarter, trying to come back, there's going to be some cushion to dump off to Deontay Foreman. And at $200, like that's a risk I'm just willing to take.
Oh, 100%. And he's going to be 5% owned. Now, here's the interesting thing. Let me play devil's advocate here because I don't love Jeremy McNichols, but he's coming in around 15% ownership. And he's the starting running back. I get it. His price is $7,800. That's really expensive. That's probably why he's going to be so low owned. But we just don't know what to expect from him. Based on what I've read from the coaching staff, they don't want to change their offense. They want to continue to be the same team that they are, which is kind of stupid. I think that's probably bullshit. But based on what I'm seeing, I mean, they're going to run the ball and they're going to keep running the ball, even if it's not successful, because one of these times maybe they'll break out. So if McNichols is coming in around under 20%, man, I might actually change my stance on him. But it's all about ownership because he's a starting running back, and I actually prefer him obviously over Adrian Peterson. But look, Adrian Peterson is going to be maybe 30% owned because everyone's excited to see him play. You could get a lot of leverage by just saying, no, I'm not going to play Adrian Peterson. I don't know. Just keep an eye on ownership as we get closer. I don't like any of these guys necessarily. If I had to choose one with a gun to my head, I'd go Deontay Foreman because he's $200.
Yep.
There's definitely a path to both of these top guys on this team failing at the running back position. So wide receivers. Let's start with Tennessee. So AJ Brown, 10.2K. Let me move the screen capture over here. Julio Jones is back. He's at 7,400. You got a guy like Marcus Johnson, Chester Rogers, Nick Westbrook-Akine, and are we getting a revenge game for Josh Reynolds here? I mean, so all these guys
took the words from my mouth.
All these guys are cheap. Marcus Johnson's 800, Chester Rogers 1,800, Westbrook-Akine 2,200, and Josh Reynolds 400. Man, one of these cheap guys has got to break out. Who else are they going to pass the ball to? So talk to me first about AJ Brown and Julio Jones. Don't overthink it, right? I mean, Julio Jones has not scored a touchdown this year. He's going to score one. He's one of the best. He's one of the best wide receivers of our generation, and I don't think that he's washed too much. I think he's still got it. It's just not working out for him for whatever reason. So AJ Brown, Julio Jones. What are your thoughts on these guys?
I'm just going to go back to what you said. Don't overthink it. AJ Brown is one of the best wide receivers out on the field, obviously not named Cooper Kupp. Julio Jones, same thing. It's very easy to talk about the lack of production from both guys, but I don't expect anybody to get a whole lion's share of production when you have an actual lion on your team at running back. So, I mean, what does he get? 30, 35 of the total touches out of 70, 75 offensive plays. That means everything else is spread between anyone not named King Henry. So with him being out, you can, this is a game where you could see Ryan Tannehill 40, 45 pass attempts. That means AJ Brown's getting 12 to 15 targets. Yeah. Julio Jones 10 to 12.
Yeah.
And that's where the targeting should be. Target should be concentrated. Jalen Ramsey can't cover both AJ Brown and Julio Jones. I don't even know who the second corner is. Right, they're a complete defense because their defensive line is able to cause pressure and allow the secondary to play well. But covering these two guys isn't something you can do for 17 games. So there is going to be an opportunity for them to break out. These other guys, to your point, I think are in great positions. I don't mind taking a flyer on any one of these, just because at some point, they have to throw the ball. Those diluted, if we dilute out the attempts, these are going to get targets to other guys. It's not going to be crazy. Nick might have 2-3, Chester Rogers 2-3,
yeah.
Johnson, 2 or 3. But if they make any receptions, those price tags are enough to kind of pay off for what we need to get some of the studs in. Now, before I wrap this up, Josh Reynolds revenge game. I don't mind $400. Still prefer the running back. But Julio Jones at 7,400, right? Like, this is one of those guys who is an elite talent, and he has been for the past decade and a half, or whatever it is, how long he's been in the league.
Yeah.
Just out of respect, he should be priced closer to 8,600. And given his ownership projection, I don't mind. I just really don't mind playing him at 7,400. He becomes an interesting captain play at 7,400. It's not even, like, honestly, don't overthink it. He's still Julio Jones. I'd rather pay 7,400 for Julio Jones to fail than pay what is it, 7,800 for Jeremy McNichols to hopefully have a career game.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree. And one way to really get different on this slate, even if you think that Tennessee can lose by a couple touchdowns, is put one of these guys at captain and put in Tannehill in the flex, and then bring it back with 4 Rams. I really think that is potentially the way, a path to victory in this game for us as fantasy players, because no one's there's so many options at captain that you want to throw in for the Rams. No one's thinking about Julio Jones at captain. And for good reason. He hasn't scored a touchdown, but we know he can. We know he can go off. If he scores 2 touchdowns in this game, am I going to be super surprised? I probably won't. So in order of these other guys, Marcus Johnson is the clear number 3 based on the numbers we're seeing. And then from there, it's Chester Rogers and Westbrook Akine. Westbrook did get a touchdown last week, and he does have a touchdown in week 3. So you're talking about a guy who has scored this year, and he's at 2,200. Chester Rogers has 1 touchdown this year, hasn't done much lately. He has 2 games that he did okay on. If I had to choose one guy, I'd probably go Westbrook Akine. But he scored last week without Julio Jones. I really don't think you need to get too much above the field on any of these guys. If I'm going to do that with anybody, it's going to be Marcus Johnson, just because Julio Jones is back. All right. Anything else here? You want to move over?
I'm good, man.
All right. Let's go to the Rams. So Cooper Kupp is $65 million. He's 12.4K. He's expensive. And, hey, he should be. Robert Woods, 8,600. Van Jefferson, 6,800. And Ben Skowronek, I don't think I said that right, but whatever. He's 1,000. These guys are going to score points against this secondary. They're going to get involved. Don't overthink this. Get as much of these guys as you can. You don't have to. I wouldn't fade any of these guys. Ben Skowronek, he's going to be like less than 5% owned at $1,000. Try to get him in. Van Jefferson, I actually think, is a sneaky good play because Robert Woods is injured. Even if he does play, I think Van Jefferson will score a touchdown in this game. And you see him, we saw him at the beginning of the year. He's gotten some long opportunities. That's the reason why Deshaun Jackson's not on this team, is because Van Jefferson has stepped up. So all 3 of these guys are going to be high on my list. Rotate them out. Cooper Kupp is the obvious play, but he's just so damn expensive. So where do we go here, man? Can you get a lot of Woods? I kind of like Woods at captain as a flyer, more so at captain than in the flex. So just talk to me here, man. Talk to me about these three guys.
Yeah, normally I like Bobby Trees. I think Robert Woods is such a great piece of this offense, but right now, like, it just doesn't make sense until they show me something different. Cooper Kupp just looks like Megatron this year, right? Like, I don't know what to say. They're giving him all the volume. He's making it work, and the dude's like
the only game this year without 10 targets was last week against Houston.
Let's see, 1, insane. 2, 3. He has as many games with 2 touchdowns as he does with less than 2 touchdowns. With right?
Yeah, like, exactly.
That's dumb. I mean, even his game without 2 touchdown, he had 10 targets, 7 receptions, 13 targets, 5 receptions. Like, if he converts any of these targets additionally, I mean, you're talking about just game breaking. I mean, he broke all the slates. Yeah. Robert Woods is similar though. Like, let's not pretend like he's converting all his targets. Last week he was 9 targets, 3 receptions, and it seems to be a little bit of a connection gap there between him and Matt Stafford. But he does get involved in other places. Rushing. I mean, and his fantasy output hasn't been terrible. 20, 15, 11, 27, 15. Right. Like, so I definitely think he's in play. I just think it's not worth overthinking. I'm going to try and have as much Cooper Kupp as possible. If not, I'll have Matt Stafford and then Robert Woods or something along those lines to ensure that I'm compensating for not having him.
You got to have you have 2 of the top 3 guys in the Rams, I think, in every lineup.
Yeah, and then the last thing here is Van Jefferson. I mean, just ignore his price tag. There's 3 wide receivers on this team. Whoever this Ben Skowronoke, whatever his name is, Ben Roanoke, I just don't know that he's going to actually get some volume. I mean, Deshaun Jackson was there to run maybe 2, 3 actual plays that were designed for him, and I don't even know if he was getting targets out of it. They like the 3 guys that they have. They're going to leave Higbee on the field and Jarrell Henderson, so I just don't know that you really need to get too crazy here on these other value guys. But I'm going to have I will have one of these wide receivers in every single one of my lineups.
If not 2, yeah, for sure. The only way I wouldn't have 2 is if I throw in Henderson.
Yep.
So tight ends, we'll start with the Rams. Tyler Higbee's at 5,600, and I don't know, these other dudes, I'm going to uncheck them. Tyler Higbee. He hasn't really done well this year. He's had one game where he kind of went off. Had a touchdown in week 3. He had a touchdown in week 5. I just don't like Higbee this year that much. I think even if he does get you a touchdown at 5,600, it might not be enough. Are you on the same page, or do you like him more than I do?
No, I'm just not interested in him. You guys can. This will probably be the week the tight ends finally crush. I mean, they've been crushing every week, so I think it's scary to kind of fade the tight ends. But at 5,600, I just think there's other players that I'm trying to get in my lineups. I just don't know how much we'll get to him. I'm going to hold I'm going to hold my comments really on him until we get to the lineup build. But I just really can't see us landing much in that 5,600 range.
So Anthony Ferkser for Tennessee's 1,400. Jeff Swaim scored a touchdown last week, 3,400. Mecole Pruitt, 1,200. Let me get rid of him. I'm not going to mess with him.
He scored a touchdown the week before last week.
Who did?
Pruitt. He has 2 touchdowns in the year.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. All these guys can score. Except for Ferkser, pretty much.
Apparently, yeah.
The guy that we spent all of our best ball tight end, 19th round picks on, can't do shit. But Swaim is at 3,400. Pruitt's 1,200. I don't know, man. Rotate these guys in and out. I think maybe one of them gets you a touchdown in this game, but I don't know who. It's one of those things. There's 3 tight ends here, man. Like, they're all cheap. Just rotate them out. You have a favorite out of these guys?
No, man. I think they're all priced really reasonably well. Jeff Swaim is a little bit pricey for me just because he has 1 touchdown of the year, and that was last week. He did have 5 targets, but look, the one thing to keep in mind is these guys are probably, if your comment is correct, if they want to keep running the same type of offense, they're probably going to have double tight end sets a lot. So I think that does open up some opportunity for all 3 of these guys. Again, I'm not going to get too crazy with it. I think being about the field with all of them is the way to go. Just rotate a couple in and out if your lineups permit it. because you're just going to need random pieces from the Titans side. If they're going to win this game, they're going to need to get Tannehill is going to need completions to 6-7 different people on his team to be able to keep them in this game. So I think you're fine playing one of these guys at $1,200-$1,400, and even Swaim might be a better play than some Swaim kickers more. At $3,400. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I think you can get above the field on some of these guys. Just don't go too crazy. Even if you get 20% Swaim, you're going to be double the field most likely.
Yeah.
All right. So let's. Oh yeah. We're done. We're done with tight ends. So let's go to kickers. So Matt Gay, 4,200. Randy Bullock, 3,800. These guys are going to probably come around 20 to 25% owned. I don't know. We say this every show. I don't care. Just get 15% of them. I don't think you need them. Maybe Tennessee, you get some Randy Bullock. Maybe Randy Bullock can get you 3 or 4 field goals because they stall out because they don't have a run game in the red zone. But do we know that's going to happen? I have no clue. Just throw them in, boost the randomness, cap them at 25%, and see what happens. Defense now. This is something interesting to talk about. So the Rams defense, 4,800. They're projected around 10 to 15%. Titans, 10%. They're at 2,600. Are you interested in defenses here? I mean, we got Tannehill, who's not perfect. He can give up a touchdown to Jalen Ramsey or a sack fumble to this amazing defensive line. The Rams, for some reason, I don't know, man. I thought they'd be a little bit higher owned than they are. I know they're 4,800.
They'd be a little higher price too.
I know they're 4,800. That's kind of right on the edge of where I want to pay for a defense on Showdown, but I'm actually willing to play them a little bit more than I typically would a defense.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one, man. I think the addition of Von Miller just increases their opportunities for sacks. I can't even remember who the other guy is. It wasn't Robert Quinn, but they have another. Was it Leonard Floyd? I think is one of their defensive ends. So you got Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd, and Von Miller now. This screams opportunity 4, 5, 6 sacks. Taylor Lewan got absolutely decimated against Chandler Jones in week 1, and he's kind of been exposed this whole season. Is he even playing anymore? Anyways, I think so, I think this is a good opportunity. Sacks are a point. Tannehill does not hold on to the ball well when he's getting hit. So sack fumbles, I think that just opens up opportunity for takeaways and defensive scores. It could be an interesting way to fade Matt Stafford too. Take Darrell Henderson,
and the defense.
Cooper Kupp, and the Rams, and then just throw in what you can on the other side.
Yeah,
I think that would be a pretty unique build. So
it really opens up in the fourth quarter. They're most likely the Titans are not going to have success on the ground. It's going to be a one-dimensional offense. These pass rushers are going to pin their ears back, and they're just going to rush. You might get a couple draw plays here and there, but they're going to be focused on getting sacks on Tannehill. But also saying that, Tannehill could get you some extra rushing yards because of that. So let's move to our fades. So you're going to go Tennessee running backs. I think that's a good point. I tend to agree with you. It all depends on ownership. If they're way too low owned, I might actually flip the script a bit. I'm going Higbee just because he's priced a little bit up, and we haven't seen him do anything this year. I don't think he's needed necessarily. So talk to me about just real quick about these Titan running backs.
Yeah, man, I think there's just a lot of question marks about what we're going to see. I definitely think that they're in play. I think the order I'm fading them is AP, McNichols, and then Dante Foreman. But again, I'm not going to be prioritizing any in my lineups. Foreman's the only guy that I'm really comfortable playing, and that's just because of a punt play. I don't even see him necessarily as being involved in this backfield. He's just a $200 guy that's going to get volume that I'm comfortable with.
Yeah. Real quick, I just want to talk about Henry and his effect on this team so far this year. He had 54% of the team's total touches. He had 34% of the total yards, and he had 41% of the touchdowns. It's going to be hard to recover. I don't care who you put back there in the backfield. I don't know that they're going to, especially a guy who's 37 is Adrian Peterson. How old is he? Is he 37?
Yeah, he's like 37, 38. Dude, there is not a running back in the league that can take over that kind of volume.
No,
right? It's not realistic.
Peterson is 5th all time. He needs 450 yards to pass Barry Sanders to move into 4th. So that's why he's still playing. He wants to be 4th all time. When that happens, he'll retire. All right. Let's go to our Crown Their Ass segment. This is our favorite captain on DraftKings. And Ellie, you're going real bold here, man.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
Look, this is like the Jonathan Taylor thing, right? It's obvious. Sometimes you just have to play the obvious play, right?
Yeah. I don't even know what to say other than, like, dude, if the guy ends up with another 12 receptions, 2 touchdowns, and 160 yards, you're screwed if you don't have him a captain.
I'm not loving Woods. I think he's probably going to come in at, well, let's look where he's at captain wise. I don't know, like under 8%, under 7% maybe. So that's the only reason why. Price and ownership is why I'm going to get a little bit above the field. Maybe I'll get 15 to 20% of him at captain. But I think I'm going to go with Kupp, and then I'm going to focus on the Titans wide receivers and maybe a little bit of Darrell Henderson.
And I think I actually, that's a good point there, because that's what I was going to say as well, man. So if you're looking at other GPP captain plays, like I don't think you're doing a bad decision taking a guy like Darrell Henderson, right? If we think that they're going to be up and he's going to be consistently getting volume, he's in a good spot. And then Julio Jones, man, like just Julio Jones' price. There's not going to be many captains that are going to have, or many people rostering Titans in the captain spot.
No, there's not.
So I think Julio Jones is going to be an interesting play there. And if you decide to fade him in the flex, that might be a way to kind of keep him in your lineup so you don't get screwed if he does go off.
And like I said, Woods, I would actually rather get more Woods at captain and just kind of be around the field or under the field in the flex, because I just think that he has an opportunity to go off and get you 2 touchdowns. But more often than not, he's probably just going to be right around 10 fantasy points probably. All right, so let's build a lineup. Let's just let's optimize here. Let's just see what it pops up with. So Darrell Henderson is the guy at the captain spot. You've got 5. You got 3. It's a 3-3 here. This isn't bad. Earlier in the day, this when I checked, it was not looking good. It was like a 1-5 Tennessee for some reason. This is not bad. You got Foreman. Now, I mean, you got Johnson, who I would never play. I'm not playing this in cash, obviously, but this is a decent tournament lineup. Tannehill, Stafford, Kupp. I don't know. I think having Foreman and Johnson in the same lineup is a little scary. I'd rather not do that. So, do you want to go with Kupp and see what we can do here? Just see how these Kupp lineups are going to look.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Right. Tell me what you want to do here.
I'm going to start by fading Matt Stafford. Let's throw in Ryan Tannehill.
Okay.
Let's throw in Julio. I really like his price, man.
Okay.
And then let's go Dante Foreman and see what kind of flexibility that gives us.
Okay. That gives us 14,000 total for 2 spots. We're in a good spot here. We got to get some more Rams.
How about Van Jefferson?
Van Jefferson, 7,200 for the last.
Seriously?
Spot. Yeah. So that gives us. I mean, it doesn't really do much for us. It gives us Tyler Higbee or the Rams defense.
Yeah, because we already got. So what about this? What if we go instead of Van Jefferson, go to Matt Stafford? I want to try something real quick.
Okay.
Can we? Can we even do that?
Yeah. Yeah, we got 1,200 left.
1,200. What does that give us for one of these Titans tight ends?
Cole Pruitt.
I'm fine with that.
It's not bad. The issue here is you got Stafford and Kupp only, which is a little scary for a team that you probably think is going to score 30-plus points. But you are capturing all the points from Stafford if he throws any other touchdowns. It really worries me to not have three Rams.
Let's do. So I want to point something out. This is where me and Tyson differ a little bit in our builds. I do not. And this is where I actually might need to take some advice from him on this week, right? Because of what we're expecting in this game, we probably want to go a little bit more balanced build. I usually build 4-2s, so 2-4. So this isn't something I would be scared to do. I'll have a bunch of these in my lineups. Yeah. Real quick before we go off the 2-4 though here, change Stafford to Darrell Henderson.
Yes, there we go. Pull Pruitt.
And then what does that give us? I think
4,800.
48.
That gives us Rams defense. Yeah, hey, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
That's not bad at all. And then, you guys see, you see Rams defense against Tannehill. That does not matter in Showdown. Just to reiterate that. I know we say that a lot, but just it doesn't matter. We could also go to Matt Gay, or you can go to Jeff Swaim. I like the defense. It's pretty cool.
Go to Swaim, and then I just want to see what it gives us to kind of how much.
So you can come up from Foreman
1,400, 8,800.
You could come up to Ferkser, which you don't want to have two tight ends probably, but hey, we've seen crazier things happen.
I mean, if you want to get real weird here, if you leave in Jeff Swaim, you can come off of Julio Jones and go up to Robert Woods.
Yeah, you could. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
That's scary as hell, but
that's not bad though, dude. It's not bad. I mean, I get you don't have the quarterback, but it's not too big of a deal. And look, just to jump off of your point earlier where you say you're doing 4-2s, I agree with you. But I always take it first off the bat. I build lineups and I look at the ownership difference. And you're just probably, the way these builds are going, you're probably going to get a lot of 4-2 Rams. So it's at that point you might as well jump to a 3-3, or a lot of times people don't really care. I usually don't care when I'm building too much. But 3-3s I think will be fine this week. It's not going to be too chalky, and a 2-4 is going to be also pretty good. All right, so we got Cup at captain, who's going to be super high owned, but you got Foreman and Swaim. You don't have Matt Stafford. That's going to be good enough for a tournament lineup. All right, Bobby Trees.
Let's do it.
All right. So Tannehill.
Dude, some of these main slate games are not going how I thought they would.
Really? All right, so Tannehill, Stafford, let's just start right there. Then we got to get us one of these wide receivers for Tennessee. So A.J. Brown's probably a little too expensive. Leaves us with 2,100. Let's try it. Let's try stars and scrubs. Let's go down to Donta Foreman. That leaves us with 4,100. That's just kickers and Jeff Swaim. But you could also throw Adrian Peterson in there. But now it's a 2-4 on the wrong side of it. I don't love that.
Well, what about this? What if you go, instead of Dante Foreman, let's put in Nick Akina. And then what does that give us? 2,100.
Chester Rogers. Throw in. There's.
Yeah, that didn't work.
It's all Titans on the low end.
So what if you go from Nick Akina to let's throw in Pruitt, and that should give you enough to go up to that should give you enough to go to Sonny Michel.
Yeah. Yep, 2,800. Yeah, Woods, Stafford, Michel, and Tannehill, Brown, Pruitt. That's not bad. That's a pretty well balanced lineup.
Yeah, so, I wouldn't be opposed to this in a deeper GPP.
A little easier to build with Woods at captain. Let's do Julio Jones here, and then we'll get out of here.
I want to do one with Darrell.
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. All right, Julio Jones, Tannehill. Can we get away with Stafford in the flex? Probably. Let's try it, and then we can jump off of him if we need to. 16.3K for 3 spots. So where do we go next? We got to get Cooper or Robert Woods.
Let's go Cup.
Okay. So that leaves us with 3,900 for 2 spots.
Let's do Pruitt, and then what does that give us? 3,700. Or not Pruitt. The $200 guy, Foreman.
And when we're using Foreman a ton, just rotate these cheap guys out. We're not using Foreman in every lineup. 37.
Yeah, he's our placeholder punt.
3,700. So you got Swaim. I don't hate it.
I'm fine with that. And then look, I mean, to your point about coming off of Foreman, I mean, you can still run Josh Reynolds, right, at $400. And what does this lineup have left over? 300.
Yeah, or you could go Marcus Johnson. Let's see that at 3,100. That leaves you with Peterson or Michel.
Yeah, which still isn't terrible. I wouldn't mind Michel on this.
Yeah. All right. So Henderson, I like Henderson. Let's do this. Now fade Stafford, right?
Yeah, putting Cup, Tannehill. Let's see if we can get AJ Brown on this.
Yeah, we got to get AJ Brown. We haven't been building with AJ Brown, but we want a lot of AJ Brown.
I think this is the same scenario where we're gonna. Well, let's go. Can we go Nick Aquina on this one?
Sure. 1,600.
And then let's get one of the
Ferkser
tight
or
ends.
Nicole. Either one. Rotate them out. Ferkser.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
But it's interesting though. It's really interesting seeing all these Titans. I'm wondering if maybe this ownership is going to come closer together as we get closer to lock. Because there's no value.
Right.
For the Rams.
So,
there's no value for the Rams.
Let's do this then.
Sony Michel is the cheapest guy that I'm comfortable playing, really. And then you got Ben Skowronek, whatever the hell his name is.
Switch AJ Brown to Julio.
Okay.
Let's see. If we leave Nick there, what does this 4,400 give us? Not much. So maybe go down to Pruitt or Foreman off of
5,400. Not quite to. So let's Marcus. You can go to Marcus Johnson maybe, or go down to the $200 guy. That leaves you with 5,800. That leaves you with Tyler Higbee. I don't love it, but
yeah, it's gonna be tough building, man.
It's tough building, man. It's not fun because you got to leave. You're gonna have to leave somebody really really good out of your lineup. I just don't like it.
Okay, one last one before I mess this up. All right, hold on. Go back. Leave in Drell, and then add. No, you're fine. Add in Tannehill, and then instead of Cup, do Stafford.
Henderson.
Both quarterbacks. Okay. And then go Julio.
Julio Jones, 6,200 for 2 spots.
Throw in one of our punts.
Okay. Let's go Josh Reynolds right now. Just to say we did it. 5,800.
5,800, same thing.
Same shit. Let's go down to Donta. Does that get us anything else? Nope. Doesn't matter. Let's do this. Humor me. I'm taking Stafford out. I'm putting Woods in. Let's see what that does for us. That leaves us with 10.4K. So what we could do is you can go with. Can we do? Shit, this is crazy, but AJ Brown, Julio Jones, and Tannehill, and then throw in Foreman.
Yeah, I don't hate that either.
That's a crazy tournament lineup, but
I mean, you can also get real weird here. AJ Brown throw in instead of AJ Brown, throw in Van Jefferson.
Okay.
What does that give us left?
36.
36. Yeah, that's bullshit. Never mind. Yeah. I don't want to do that.
All right, well, let's do one more. Let's go low. Let's go low end when it comes to price at the captain spot and see what that gets.
I think you're going to say the guy that I'm going to say. So
no, you say
I'll let you do it.
No, you say it.
Van. Throw in Van.
Cool.
He's their big play guy. There's no more Deshaun Jackson. If he's going to get a touchdown.
Yes, I agree. I have a theme here going. I got to show you my sports card here. 14 out of 35, Van Jefferson. Let's go, buddy. Come on. All right. So Stafford, Tannehill, Cup. Still doesn't do a whole lot for us. Instead of Cup, let's go.
Throw in Foreman.
Okay. We don't have any Tennessee wide receivers that we want.
Then maybe instead of are you cool coming off of Stafford? Leave Cup in there. We don't.
Okay.
I mean,
let's put in AJ Brown. Leaves us with 7,200. Higbee.
Then maybe instead of Cup, go Darrell Henderson.
Yeah, let's do that. 10.4K. We can get anybody we want, pretty much.
Can we get Stafford?
No, he's 12.8K.
Oh Jesus, yeah, he is.
I mean, Woods, McNichols. It's
yeah. I don't know.
I don't care what you do.
I don't like any of this.
I don't care what you do. Can we go even lower than this? Can we go? Let's go lower than this at captain. I mean, fucking Adrian Peterson. I don't think I want to do that.
Hey, let's put our punt in the captain.
Hey man, I've done crazier things. All right, let's just put everybody we want in. Let's put Cup. Let's put Henderson. And we still can't get. All right, so we got to keep Henderson out here. So let's put in AJ. AJ leaves us with 4,500. These guys are still so priced so high you can't get everybody you want. 4,500 is Matt Gay or a kicker, or you could go.
So that's not even worth it.
You could go up to AJ Brown. Oh yeah, we did. No, I'm sorry. You could go down to Julio Jones. It leaves us with 7,300, and you could get Van Jefferson. I don't know.
And what's that? That's projected at 95.
Yeah.
What was the Opto projected? Let's see.
Let's find out. Are you gonna do it?
Yeah, I can do it real quick. Opto was 102.
Not terrible. Ceiling's higher.
Don't do this, guys. Don't play this lineup.
Yeah, but our point is, a punt. Is it worth going this low? I don't know that it is.
Right.
I don't know that it is. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, guys. We appreciate it. Ellie, tell me what you're thinking about the final score here, and who is a low-owned guy that you think can score?
I'm just going to keep saying 31-17 until I get it right. So I think it's 31-17 LA. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans actually end up making this game competitive. They have too much talent to consistently be held down in the passing attack. Low-owned guy that I think has an opportunity to score, Dante Foreman. He could end up getting a goal line carry. We don't know what they're going to use him for. So
yeah, I'm going to go 35-31 Rams. I'm rooting against the Rams as a Cardinals fan, obviously, but I'm a sane person, so I do understand that they're probably going to win this. But I think the Titans can hopefully keep it close. When it comes to low-owned guys, I think Jeremy McNichols can score. If you consider 15% low-owned on a slate like this, I'm going to go with McNichols. All right, guys, throw us a subscribe, like the video. We appreciate it. We will see you guys tomorrow for Monday Night Football. Take it easy.
Join the Discord.
Yep.